So I want to start off this episode by telling you two very different stories. In the first one, I was sitting in a mastermind call. It was a casual Zoom, honestly, nothing flashy. And I had this aha moment with the person that I was speaking with that changed my entire launch strategy. It wasn't just a cute tweak. It wasn't a mindset shift. I'm talking about a decision I made on that call that led me to $200,000 more in profit during our next big launch. So, yes, six figures, actual profit from one conversation, one person's feedback. And that one shift changed the trajectory of how I structured that particular launch offer forever. So, that is one situation that I have had with a mastermind. And now let me tell you about the second one. In this story, I joined what I thought would be a very helpful, high level mastermind. I paid thousands. I was excited. And within weeks, I was like, oh no, this is bad. There was no real structure. The leader was like really MIA. The content was a mess. It felt super disorganized, unprofessional. And honestly, it was just really sketchy, like so sketchy that me, the legal gal, had to then pull out the contract that I signed, find where the breach of contract occurred, and then figure out how I could not only get myself out of that agreement, but also other participants who were just as lost and frustrated and were leaning on me. So yeah, I have seen both sides of the mastermind world. One that really like levels up and completely changes your business and makes you a better person and business owner. And then the one that makes you want to burn your laptop and like never trust a mastermind or group coaching experience again. So all of this then brings me to the question that I think a lot of business owners are secretly asking. What the heck do people even do at masterminds? I have seen like on Instagram, you know, the masterminds in Napa or the CEO retreats in Aruba or something. And they're like in beach circles and they're sitting around Sedona campfires. They're sipping wine. They're doing all kinds of breath work. They're tagging each other. And you're just like, okay, but like, what do you actually do there? And is it worth it? Do these types of masterminds really change your business, or there are some big names out there that are just looking to cash in on like 25 to 50K per person? So they're making like $500,000 to $1 million more in profit just because they like didn't want to do one-on-one coaching anymore. I've also seen that. I think the question for us as small business owners who are scaling and growing our businesses, and we're looking at all of these masterminds that are out there, is are those mastermind leaders truly showing up to lead? Do they actually share how their business works? Are they in it to teach or just for the aesthetics? So I'm just going to like break it all down in today's episode. I'm going to give you the real deal on masterminds, what they are not, what to look for, what to avoid like the plague, and how to know if it is the right time and the right price point for you to invest in something like that. Because in my experience, masterminds can and will and do change everything, but it's truly only if you're in the right room with the right people for the right reasons. So let's get into it. Hey there, I'm Paige Griffith, your host, an attorney for small business owners, and the founder of The Legal Page. I help online businesses and creatives get legally legit in no time. In this podcast, I break down and simplify legal talk while providing practical business guidance every step of the way. With over a decade of experience in both entrepreneurship and the law, think of me as your go-to legal resource, here to tackle all those what-if scenarios so that you can focus on what you do best, growing your business. As a gentle reminder and disclaimer, I am an attorney, but I am not your attorney, so be sure to seek legal counsel for personalized advice. Welcome to the Legally Legit Podcast. As we start out this episode, I really want to talk about the framework of what masterminds actually are and what they are definitely not. Because the term mastermind, quote unquote, gets thrown around a lot, and not everything labeled a mastermind that I have found actually is one. So here is what a mastermind is not. It's not a magic wand to like double your revenue overnight. It's not a foolproof like playbook, step-by-step instructions, something like that, that like guarantees your success for the next 5 years. And it's also not a passive experience where you can like sit back, mute yourself on calls, soak up like a bunch of what everyone else is saying and then not put any effort. And like, I feel like everyone thinks there's some secret sauce that you are going to learn and your business is going to go like explode overnight. It's also not the same as group coaching. And I really want to talk about that because there's a difference. Group coaching is usually curriculum based. There's like a set timeline, a defined teaching plan. Usually there's a leader of the group coaching program. They're there to coach you, lead you. You learn. It's kind of like a classroom feel. And oftentimes group coaching is really virtual. There's no in person to it. You're mostly there to just absorb what the coach says. Now, a mastermind, on the other hand, it's really peer powered. So there might be teaching or guidance from some type of leader. Yes, the person who's structuring it and putting it on, and usually their team is helping. But I really think that masterminds are all about the people in the room. It's helping create a space. So, like, the mastermind leader is creating a space for big picture thinking and you to have strategic conversations with other people and then shared learning experiences from people who are kind of walking the same road as you, or hopefully a few steps or a lot of steps ahead of you. What I have found is that masterminds are really all about who you're surrounded by just as much, if not more, than who's leading it. So what really can you expect from a real mastermind? I will get into which ones I've been in. I'm going to give you all the skinny on it. But what I have found is that a real mastermind is creating space and it's led by someone who's walked the path before you. And that person is like genuinely willing to share a lot of behind the scenes, the messy middle, and the actual numbers. I don't like it when you have a mastermind leader who is not sharing numbers and they're super cagey. I'm just like, why are you even leading a mastermind? Like, we're all here to like just be as open and honest and transparent as possible. It's also about access to other business owners who are in it. They're growing, they're scaling, they're solving real-time problems, and they're experimenting with kind of the same things that you may be considering so that you can learn like what's working right now in marketing and operations and team building and finances and mindset. And maybe they've done it and they're like, don't do that. Or maybe they're like, hey, I actually did this really, really well with my last launch or my last Facebook ad campaign, and this worked really well, and you could take that and run with it. And then I also am going to say here, it's a shortcut to growth a little bit. And I don't mean like that wave a magic wand. It's about hearing like what didn't work for all those other people from someone else, right? So that it can save you the time and the money and the whole like unnecessary stress that comes with trying to do it all yourself and being the only visionary for your business. Like, it's so nice to hear what other people have done, hypothesize with them, come up with solutions, kind of dissect what is all involved in those solutions together, and then move forward with a better, more strategic path. That's why I call it like a shortcut to growth, quote unquote. And then a real mastermind is truly connections that go way beyond just networking, like actual friendships, actual affiliate partnerships, maybe a whale client that you didn't even know that you could land, or they give you the whale client because of their connections to who they know that you wouldn't have known if you weren't in the room with these other people. And I call those like random referrals. I never would have met probably 10 to 20 people in this coming year if I wouldn't have been in a mastermind room. So a lot of times I'm always asking people in masterminds, like, hey, do you know someone who does XYZ? And they may not know someone, but they probably know someone that knows someone. It's honestly like game changing in my opinion. It's collaborations and networking at its finest. And you guys know, I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, how much I love networking. And then sometimes a real mastermind, and this is just sometimes, it's not even about the business, right? Sometimes it's like the biggest takeaway is getting that validation that you're not crazy, that what you're doing is working, and you are good at what you do, and just continuing on, or double down or quadruple down on something that's really working. And sometimes you just need those aha moments. Sometimes also other people are struggling with the same things. And so that's nice to feel like you're not behind. You're all just in a really hard season right now. So a lot of that is what a real mastermind actually is. And I just want to give you the truth though. With masterminds, you have to take radical ownership of your mastermind experience because no one is just like handing out $1,000,000 ideas on a silver platter. Um, you don't get to just receive greatness because you paid the invoice and you showed up for these Zoom calls and you went to the in-person events. Okay. You have to, in a mastermind, ask questions, be bold, be unapologetic. You need to engage. You need to follow up with people. You need to shoot your shot. You need to take notes. You need to implement, and you need to be visible. You need to be very visible. You need to be memorable. Um, Respond to people in group calls. Like if there's a hot seat, don't just sit back and listen. That's like the most that I have gotten out of a mastermind. And I do think it's like wildly different for everyone. I've noticed like for some people, like I said, it's an affiliate collaboration that brings in that extra like 50K a year. Boom, you've already doubled your investment on like a 25K mastermind. For someone else, I've learned that like from our October mastermind event that I went to, it was like a complete team overhaul. For other people, it's like a brand new onboarding system, or they just didn't even have a system set up to begin with that kind of finally stops all of this team chaos and they can all get on the same page. Sometimes for people, it's like that quiet moment of clarity during a mastermind event. Maybe you're doing some meditation. And other times, it's like that one tiny but mighty sentence from someone that you respect so, so, so much that hits at exactly the right moment. I had that experience with Michelle, who is also in the mastermind that I'm in right now. And I would just take little nuggets of sentences that she would say. And I was like, that's my motto for the next month. And I would run with it. And it would be very, very helpful to, yeah, just hear from someone else about how they experience things and how they would conceptualize things together. What I am trying to say here is real masterminds aren't all about just the mastermind itself and like how this leader is putting everything together and how many calls there are and how many one-on-ones you get and how many in-person experiences you have. In my opinion, it's all about you having to be willing to put in the work, to be in the room, and then you also have to claim it. So, with that being said, I want to talk about some of the masterminds I've been in, the good, the great, and then the never again. I want to talk receipts, right? Because we got to get juicy here. Like I've been in a few masterminds and group programs over the years. Each one has taught me something, even the not so great ones. So I kind of want to run down. I wrote down a few notes here on some of the ones that I've loved and then the ones that I like never recommend. So the first one is one I talk about very candidly. Jenna Kutcher's kind of OG mastermind in 2018. This was her one and only mastermind. I am still so, so, so grateful that I was a part of it. At the time, if you can believe it, I was working full time for a federal judge as a law clerk, and I was running a full time photography business. But I knew I wanted to be in this mastermind because I was feeling at the time that what I was doing or the trajectory I was going on in terms of like maybe becoming a trial attorney and doing the partner route at a law firm, like wasn't what was actually supposed to be in the cards for me in my life. And at the time, I talked with my then fiance. And Marco and I sat down and I just said, like, I know this is a monster investment. I don't even think I've written a check this big before. I sent a check to her home address and I was like, I'm so nervous. I've never written this big of a check. But I was like, I am realizing that I want to build something new, something different, something bigger. And it's really cool because I'll never, ever forget that January 2018 mastermind event. It was in Waco, Texas, and the legal page was born in that mastermind. There was hot seats that I was a part of. There was lunch talks where we came up with the legal page name during a brainstorming session. And then I went home and trademarked it immediately. And that was the catalyst for me to like start laying the foundation for what became this multi 6-figure, 7-figure contract shop and legal education platform. Like what? I also met people in that mastermind that I would still call my business besties. A few are also some of my top affiliates. Were there like hiccups in the mastermind? Sure. Like it was her first mastermind. It was the one and only. I didn't go with any like fangirl expectations. So I felt like I was pleasantly surprised. I was in a very different world at the time because I was in W2 world. And I think a lot of the people there were already in like so deep with entrepreneurship and building their businesses. And they kind of just wanted the playbook strategy from Jenna. And maybe that wasn't the best program for them to be in at that time. But for me, I kind of feel like it was everything I could have hoped for and more. I feel like I bonded with a lot of the people there. I made a lot of good networking connections. I learned a lot about the online world that I wouldn't have otherwise known. And I still think of Jenna as my good industry friend to date. I hope she feels the same. But I loved her mastermind. I truly, truly loved it. And I think I'm a good poster child of like how a mastermind can go really well from that experience. So besides that, over the years, I've been in some group coaching programs. I'm going to get to those in a second. But there's two others that I wanted to point out. One was called the Rainmaker Residency. It's with Veronica Romney. This was a more of a group coaching program where Veronica like trains you and your marketing manager at the same time. It was so smart. She did definitely like an online course, very normal module by module, lesson by lesson experience. You have homework that you need to do with your marketing manager and submit them. It helps you learn a lot about what your org chart should look like. She was very available for you to talk to in Slack. And yeah, it was a really good experience. There was also some good in-person events that I loved. I have never been to the Biltmore, and that was a really cool experience for me to go to. And I really liked that event. However, there were some weird moments for me because like the person that I enrolled with ended up quitting my business. Ugh. Learned so much from that experience, but then that also ended up allowing me to tap into Veronica's brain, and she really helped me kind of transform and maneuver through that really yucky, I felt like mud sticking experience that I didn't love. And then she also helped me really promote someone from within. And that person, Casey, thrived in the program. She was able to tap into Veronica and Veronica's team brilliance. She was able to meet with a lot of other rainmakers and learn something. She learned so much about the online space inside and outside. Yeah, Veronica is amazing. I love her to this day. We're really close friends. She's also helped me actually hire amazing contractors that are on my team right now. So she's always someone that I'm like, Mayday, reach out to. I've done a lot of like one-on-one calls with her since that experience. So that goes to show how much I truly, truly loved working with her. Her team was stellar as well. Casey, Raven, shout out to you guys. I felt like some of the people in that mastermind may not have been someone that I would have otherwise wanted to connect with. But then I have a couple like Meredith and Alex who I have talked to for months and years after. So, and we've done, good live calls together. So again, it's all like what you put into it and then what you will get out of it. I don't actually know if Veronica does the Rainmaker residency anymore. I don't think so, but she does some like similar one-on-one VIP experiences that I think you can look into that are similar. Next, I want to talk about another one that I was a part of actually this past year. It happened before I joined the Jasmine Star Mastermind. So I wanted to briefly touch on it because I think it was a really cool group. It was the Millionaires Founders Club. Sunira Madani is the one who put it on. I haven't talked about this one much, but I should because Sunira has built and sold a billion-dollar company. Her connections are next level. I went to only one in-person event last May of 2024. It was incredible, but then I missed the second one in end of October, beginning of November 2024. And I'm going to just like take full responsibility. I honestly didn't show up for the monthly calls the way I should have. I got really, really busy. And it was also like the first round of her Millionaires Founders Club. So I think they were still working out some of the structure stuff. And I just say that with love, but I really did meet some awesome, awesome women. And I hope to keep those connections strong in the coming year. I have not continued on with MFC. But I have no qualms about it. And I feel like I missed out on that second retreat. I think that was in Arizona. I think it was in Sedona, and I've never been there, and I really wanted to go. And then she's having another one, I think, in Orlando this like in a week or two. So I can't wait to hear how that goes, because a lot of the gals that were in the mastermind are continuing on, and I always like to, pick their brains and see how it went. So TBD, I'll let you know. And then there's masterminds and group coaching programs that I will never recommend. I've been in some terrible ones. I'm not going to name names, but when I say bad, I do mean bad. Like no structure, no clear programming, no bonding, no connection, no real leadership. The person running it was totally unapproachable. And worst of all, I have noticed that a lot of people are just in it for the money. So when you go in and you're having like intro calls and you're like grill them, you need to grill them on those calls and say like, this is what I'm looking for, and would I be a good fit, and this is what my business is at right now. Share numbers. I wanted people who were at my level or like above me. I wanted to be surrounded by people who were further along and smarter and more experienced. That's the room I wanted to be in. But a lot of these like turned out to be business owners who are amazing, but they're like at the 50K to like 80K revenue, and they're trying to make it above six figures. And when you get into those experiences and you're at a place that I was at in business, I kind of felt like I was coaching the group, and that wasn't what I had signed up for, nor I had told that I would be a part of. So it's like a lesson learned. I actually think Jasmine Star says this quite a bit. Like, you want to be the dumbest person in the room. And I have taken that to heart with a lot of these learning experiences. And one more thing with this, I feel like if the marketing to get into a group coaching program or a mastermind like feels deceptive, like trust your gut there, because it probably is. And I wouldn't recommend it. You should have your like orange flag, red flag radar going off, and walk away before you start spending thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe just to be in the room with like someone that you've admired so much over the years. Okay, so I talked about the ones that I've been in, what I liked, disliked. I could go into way more detail. I feel like I'm keeping it a little bit surface level here. Maybe just like DM me and we can go into further details if you really want to know. But I want to talk more about the one I'm currently in, and that's Jasmine Star's Mastermind. It's her first one that she's done for seven-figure business owners. And honestly, I just want to like clap. I want to give cred where credit is due. This experience has been so dang powerful for me, and I want to talk about why. So the first, and I've written down a lot of notes here, so just bear with me, is the quality of the monthly calls. So every single one is structured, intentional, jam-packed. She talks as fast as you think she does. And I just feel like I'm not wasting my time. And they're 2 hours long. Like, there's no fluff. She comes in prepared. She's not winging it. The conversation is high level in the best way. I'm scribbling notes the entire time, but also like just trying to digest as well. Of course, there's notes with like AI apps now that people are taking. And then she brings in really, really cool guest speakers, like top notch at her level or bigger. And I'm like, heck yes, Jasmine, thank you for that. So monthly calls, the best I've ever been in. I'm just going to throw that out there. The best I've ever been in. Number two, the in-person experiences. I first walked into the cocktail hour at the first event being very nervous. And it was like a breath of fresh air. She welcomed me with open arms. Her team welcomed me. They had headshots. They had like B-roll. It was like, here's a bunch of content, because Jasmine Star can create content like a machine. And then she was like kind of already showing you, here's how you can get content like while you're doing it. And then she opened her home to us. It was next level. She allowed us into her space, and she's a very private person, but she was like, I want to show you guys that I am here for you. Like I'm tearing down my walls. Like her house was beautiful, but that vulnerability of allowing people into your space and in the room was huge. And then I just feel like those in-person experiences, like you cannot get that anywhere else. I was sitting next to people who had 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, $10 million businesses. They are sharing real numbers, hard truths, all of their wins, all of their losses. I also totally left every in-person event feeling like she heard us. She saw us, she majorly inspired us, but then she brought in also like guest speakers that were all on the same page with leadership and team building and AI and scaling and exiting a company. And then just mindset stuff was huge too. The other thing that I think Jasmine did really well was hot seat experiences. I forgot to mention that in like what a mastermind actually is, but if there are not hot seats, you're not in a mastermind. Hot seat experiences, or what's it called, like love seats, or I don't remember. I call them hot seats, to be honest. I'm always nervous for hot seats, but I feel like you get the most out of them. It's where you go in and you ask one big question to your group. You usually have like a minute or so, and then they have a couple minutes of clarification, and then 5 minutes to just listen and let them pour into you and give you a bunch of ideas. A lot of times they validate so much about what you're doing in your business, especially for me. When I was giving feedback for other people's hot seat experiences, I was like, man, I feel like we built really good team culture here. I've made thoughtful hires. I know a lot about onboarding and leadership. I was able to hopefully give that to other people in the best way possible during their hot seat experiences. I also walked away from mine with really cool, tangible next steps. A reminder that I'm like not crazy, a reminder that there are other people out there doing similar things, but maybe with like a different angle. And maybe you should lean into another angle, or they're like, no, you need to follow the data and the numbers and you need to double down on that or quadruple down on that. So I love hot seat experiences. They are kind of nerve wracking. Jasmine did a good job of blending them. Some people did them in person, so it wasn't like we were trying to get through 20 different women in person, because that would be exhausting. She like sprinkled in a few here, and then she had the guests do their talks and keynotes, and then she would come in and do a Q&A, or she would do her like mini keynote, and then she'd sprinkle in a few more hot seats, and then we just have like open group conversations with breaks. And then on the monthly calls, she would also break it up so that there were only a couple hot seats. So it's like everyone definitely got their hot seat. Lots of people got 2 or 3 hot seats. It was really awesome the way she went about it. And then the other thing is just the women that I met. It was kind of the most unexpected gift. Promise, Michelle. I felt like I was meant to go to this Airbnb and be invited there and have this hopefully like really long standing business friendship with these two. But beyond that, I also felt like I was able to connect with so many women in this mastermind. And then like my crafters table, I was at a group table this past mastermind. There was 4 of us, and it was me, the lawyer, and then all of these really crafty individuals like Etsy sellers and someone who does paint parties. And someone who sells like quilt patterns and all kinds of fabric. And I was like, I didn't know I wanted to be at this table, but I want to. And they were amazing. So Natalie, Heidi, Abby, shout out to you. That was a really fun experience for us that day that we got sat together. There was so many other cool people. I wish I could name everyone. Like Christina, you gave me so much good insight. I just can't thank you enough for, sending me like a random Voxer or Slack message. And that was just so wonderful. And then like Jennifer, I just love your vibes. You were so beautiful as well to just be around. Sarah, I sat next to at one of my last dinners at the mastermind, and she was just like pouring into me. Same with Gree. I know I'm forgetting people. I'm so sorry. Please know that I'm not leaving you out. It's like this whirlwind of amazingness from all these women that I got to surround myself with. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. The women that I met, most unexpected gift of all. Okay, so let's talk about this part. Jasmine herself and her team. She's been around for a long time. She has a massive audience. She's really well known. She has a reputation. And to be totally honest, when someone's been in the online business space that long, you never really know what you're going to get. Sometimes that big presence kind of comes with a big ego, or on the flip side, like a little underwhelm when you finally meet them in person. I'm very happy to say that was not the case here. Jasmine was exactly what I would hope she would be. Sassy, pizzazzy, fiery, smart, real. Like, tell it to you straight, real, no sugarcoating. No, everything's perfect with her branding. She like peeled back the curtain in the most beautiful, vulnerable way that most people wouldn't. She talked about her launches that didn't go so well. She broke down what her team did wrong, what they learned, what they're doing differently now. She even dove into some of the woo and mindset work that she's focusing on right now, which I'll admit isn't totally my jam. I felt like I came off as like the token non-woo person in the group. But I tried to be open for that. And I really appreciated how open she was about it and how it's transformed her as a business owner. I did try to stay curious, and there's truly something to be said for a leader who is constantly evolving and sharing in that journey in real time. And Jasmine just let it all out for us. Speaking of sharing, she also gave us access to everything. We're talking like Notion dashboards, Loom videos from her team, a lot of internal systems, behind the scenes workflows, connections that she could make, something that she would like talk about in her bro masterminds or tech bro events that she went to, and she would learn and just let us have it. Then, the in-person experience was top notch. Like her team crushed it, her and her team. I would say like 12 out of 10. The vibes were high. They were high end too, but like not stuffy high end. The food was really, really yummy. The atmosphere felt extremely thoughtful. Personally, I liked the first event more where it was at her house. And I just felt like it had a little bit more better like California vibes. The other one was in like a room at a hotel, a really beautiful room, and like more of a exclusive club at a hotel, which I kind of could feel the vibe she was going for, but I think it's like hard to top Jasmine's house. All in all, I felt like everything in person was really well planned. If you're paying, 25, 30K for a mastermind, you want it to feel luxurious. And let's be honest, I know they're expensive. And you're also leaving your family, your business, and your everyday routine to be there. So you want it to feel nice, but you also want it to feel like intimate enough that you can show up kind of raw and honest and messy. And I felt like this mastermind and both events were both. I also loved really getting to know her and JD on more of a personal level. JD, who's her business partner, and you've probably seen him and everything online, like he was so approachable. He was at every event. He was there just sitting and watching and admiring Jasmine. It was so cute from the back. But he was also very much like, if you had a question, he probably knew it about the business too. And he was there at the lunches and the dinners, and like him and Katie, who's Jasmine's marketing manager and like I think like vice president and director. She's in a bunch of different roles. She crushed it. And Katie and her, Jasmine and JD would like rotate at dinners, and that was really cool because you didn't feel like, oh, that table got Jasmine and we didn't. But then you got JD, who was like giving a really cool angle on the business, and then you got Katie, who was like coming in with a bunch of marketing expertise, and then Jasmine would rotate in, and then you just have a table of just you and the women, and that was really cool too. Okay, sorry, I'm getting away from my outline here. I need to come back. They were all very approachable. They were kind, funny, down to earth. There was no like, I'm too busy for you energy, which sadly I have felt in other rooms. Um, and this is like truly one of the moments that sealed it for me. I sent Jasmine this quick message on Slack about the secret project that I'm working on. And out of the blue, she just called me on the phone, like old school. And then we had like a 15-minute conversation, and she was like, I'm just sitting next to Luna and eating Cheerios. And like, I just wanted to talk about this over the phone. Like, do you have time? And I said, yeah, what? She gave me direct advice, encouragement, ideas. She like walked me through, what if the worst case scenario happens? Are you okay with that? And y'all, that does not happen in very many masterminds. That kind of personal time is rare, but she made the space for me, and that kind of leadership like deserves a shout out. So shout out to you, Jasmine, for doing that. I know you've done it in various capacities and ways for other people as well in the mastermind, and I hope everyone in there feels as seen and heard and approached as you were to me. All in all, I had a really good experience, and yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough. So, um, I really just want to like close this out with, if you've ever wondered, like, should you be joining something like this? Here's what I would tell you. Do it, but do your research. Who's leading it? Who else is in the room? Are there going to be people that you can learn from and grow with? Be really, really intentional. Don't just show up and hope that magic happens. I want you to like set specific goals for what you want to get out of the experience. I want you to talk to past participants if you can, get a feel for what the vibe actually is. Ask, right? If you don't ask, you're not going to get answers. Also budget for it like you would a business investment, because that's what it truly is. You have to put it as a part of your budget. I don't just want you to wing it and put it on a credit card. That's not a wise investment. And then know your season. Sometimes a mastermind like isn't what you need right now. Maybe you need a coach or a team hire or just a solid nap. Or maybe you just need a little bit more personal time for yourself. But maybe right now is the time for a mastermind. And maybe something I told you here was like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I needed to hear, Paige. I want to go sign up for one right now. There are some big people in the industry hosting masterminds right now. And like, I don't know how long they're going to be doing it. So tap into it if this is the right time for you. Yeah, if you're just like at a point where you're tired of going at it alone, I kind of feel like masterminds are exactly the thing that you need that like fills that gap. Yeah, I also want to close this out with what everyone keeps asking me in my DMs as I go and I share about my experience. And I wanted to record this episode fresh off my final mastermind event for the Jasmine Star mastermind, because people are like texting me and DMing me, do you like Jasmine's mastermind? Was it worth it? Should I apply? My answer is yes, yes, and yes. I really liked it. It was worth it. And yes, you should apply. I felt like I was totally fulfilled. It was genuinely helpful, high level conversations. Jasmine and her team showed up fully. The people in the room were thoughtful, sharp. They were geniuses. I loved the guests. I left with more clarity and confidence and connections that I could have ever expected. Would I do it again? Totally, I would. I feel like I'm still on the fence, but I have said that I am not going to continue to her and her team. Total transparency. I am like entering a season right now where I took as much as I could with this mastermind, and now I need to like put my head down and implement for the next 8 to 12 months. That's just where I'm at right now. And her team totally got that. And like, I think Jasmine totally got that too. I hope Jasmine and I can stay good friends in the industry for some time now. I've done some trademark work for her as well. So we have like varying connections throughout the years, but this was one where I finally got some one-on-one time with her in person, and being in the room was such a powerhouse. I think you should do that as well if you really are thinking like this could be the mastermind for you. Yeah, I would recommend this mastermind fully, without qualms. It was one of the best I've ever been a part of or heard about. And I really hope she keeps it as good as it was the first time, because sometimes I'm like, oh, the first one, they like just go all in and like they learn a lot from it. And sometimes like the subsequent cohorts aren't as good. But if I know Jasmine, that's not how she's going to roll. Like, she seeks excellence in everything she does. And even though I'm not probably going to be a part of cohort 2, maybe I'll come back for cohort 3 or 4 if she continues to do it. I did want to say there are like meditation, woo woo, breath work things, mindset things that are woven in. I know that I am not naturally inclined to like those things. And that though didn't take away from the experience. So I just want to be upfront about that for anyone who wants the full picture. It's business, but it's also woo. It's also mindset. It's also getting down to business. But you need to know that that's a part of it too. So if you're thinking about applying for one or joining any mastermind, if you want any more details, just reach out. I am happy to share what I can, what worked, what didn't, what to consider before jumping in. Also, I'm really good at networking with people. Like, I may not have been in another mastermind, but I saw that one of my friends was, and I can connect you with them, and then you can talk with them. I would start there. Always talk to people that have been in a mastermind or have connections to that person that's leading one. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, you don't have to build your business alone, right? Being in the right room can truly make all the difference, and having the right mastermind leader can make all of the difference. And that's my episode on the Jasmine Star Mastermind and what I loved about it. And my heart is so full after recording this. And Jasmine, I just want to give you a big hug. And Katie, I just want to give you a big hug. And JD, I just want to give you a big hug. Okay, that's all. and Promise and Michelle and everyone else in the mastermind. Okay. I need to be done. See you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Be sure to visit thelegalpage.com for contract templates, blogs, and additional legal resources. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend or on Instagram with your favorite takeaway, and make sure you tag me at The Legal Page. Sharing is one of the best ways you can support the show. And if you've been tuning in for a while and you are finding value in these episodes, it would mean the world to me if you popped over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and left a rating and review. Hearing your feedback absolutely inspires me to continue creating podcast content. Lastly, you can join my free Facebook group at tlpfacebook.com, and this is where you'll get access to me, my legal team, and thousands of other entrepreneurs for unlimited business and legal Q&A. Until next time, my friend.